Welcome to the presidential race that will not end.
2020's already been a torturous marathon of an election cycle, so what's one more week? Plus, I'm keeping a close eye on my stress levels. New York Times has their Needle from Hell, 538 has that sexy cross-eyed cartoon fox, so I thought I would make my own Descent into Madness meter. That way I can let you know how stressed out you should be. Right now, we can sit back and rest assured the states will count every ballot in a timely fashion, which is why right now I'm in the Zen zone.
The presidential race still undecided. Millions of votes still being counted.
Okay, well, I'm sure that's not a big deal, but just to put my mind at ease, let's talk to an expert in chaos theory. Close, but more like this. Meet Ned Foley, an expert in U.S. electoral chaos.
From a potential disaster standpoint, what happens if we don't know the results of this election?
We're fine for a couple of weeks. We don't really have to worry again until we get to December, Monday, December 14th. So that's actually the real presidential election. That's when the Electoral College meets. There's a provision of federal law. It's Title III of the U.S. Code, Section 7. It talks about the meeting of the Electoral College being the first Monday after the second Wednesday in December.
I thought it was the fourth Thursday in November.
Isn't that Thanksgiving?
Well, then when's my anniversary?
You tell me.
Okay, it's December 14th, and not all the votes have been counted. What happens?
Well, that would be bad. That would be very bad.
Ooh.
Ned tells me that if the vote count is not complete by December 14th, which I marked on my calendar, the states get to ignore the popular vote and send their own electors. This is an actual law?
That would authorize, or at least give a state legislature grounds for stepping in and say, well, we're going to step in and just appoint electors ourselves.
I'm just going to take some notes on a whiteboard to make it simpler for myself. Is that okay?
Sure. Both the Senate and the House.
It turns out there are a lot of nightmare scenarios if a clear winner doesn't emerge.
Who do you think it benefits, Trump or Biden, if this delayed situation continues and we don't know an answer by December 14th?
Depending upon who is looking like they're going to win the popular vote, it becomes strategically advantage to the other candidate to try to mess up the system. It becomes advantageous for Team Trump to try to derail the popular vote.
And how does Trump derail the popular vote? Well, it's the lawsuits that you're seeing now. All kinds of lawsuits.
Pennsylvania has become the center of multiple 2020 election lawsuits.
The 2020 vote has already seen more lawsuits filed than any other race.
With Trump's top lawyers, like this guy.
Do you think we're stupid? You think we're fools?
Which definitely could lead to panicking.
One of the reasons why you might feel panicky is because that's what Donald Trump wants you to feel, because he knows that if all legal eligible votes are counted here in Pennsylvania, he's quite likely going to lose.
Meet the man currently fighting Trump's lawyers in Pennsylvania, where this election may actually be decided. Attorney General Josh Shapiro, AG Shaps.
Election day is over. It's still too close to call. On a level of oh shit to holy shit, how stressed about this election should I be?
You shouldn't be stressed at all. You voted, you did your part. Now let us count the votes and deal with what may come. My team and I have been preparing for this election for more than 4 months. We knew we'd be facing litigation before the election.
Do you get a notification on your phone every time someone sues Pennsylvania? Is it like how I get a text message?
Oh, I get notifications, I get texts, and I get staff calling. Here's the thing about these lawsuits, right? Donald Trump, puts out some crazy tweets and he says some outrageous things. But in a court of law, we don't deal in tweets and crazy statements. We deal with facts and evidence.
You're a composed guy. You're calm. You got the answers. That's probably how you became Attorney General.
Right.
But when do you think the legal dust will finally settle for the 2020 election?
I think you'll have a certified count here as required by law within the next 10 days or so. And we'll move forward with the process and begin to try and heal this country.
All right, AG Shaps is handling it. There's a process for this, a system in place mapped out by the Constitution. It's not madness scribbled on a whiteboard, so everything's gonna be just fine. Okay, nervous Ned?
January 20th is, to my mind, the ultimate nightmare. That's what worries me the most. What if we get to January 20th and there's still competition and still uncertainty, and the generals in the Pentagon don't know who gets the nuclear codes?
You may not know the answer to this, but what does the Constitution say about transferring nuclear codes?
It doesn't say anything because it was written before the nuclear age.
Ned, thank you. I feel a lot more at ease. It's clear what's going to happen in the next 2 months, and my anxiety is already lowered. So thanks a lot. Jesus Christ, we're all going to die.
So the one tiny detail that isn't worked out is the nukes. Well, at least we can stop tracking stress levels.